Hello students, welcome you all to the online class of computer. So please open your book which is all about computer of 6th class. Today we will be discuss the second chapter which is programming language or computer language. Language is a means of communication through which people interact with each other. Similarly, a computer language is also a means of communication to exchange information between a user and a computer. A computer follows a set of instructions or programs written in a computer language to perform a specific job. Each computer language has its own specific rules called syntax. So you can see the image how a user writing a program and a computer interpreting and executing the program, and the same computer is displaying result of a program to the user. Programming languages have been classified into different generations. The various generations of programming languages are first generation programming, which is machine language, second generation programming, which is assembly language, third generation programming, which is high level end language, then fourth generation of programming, which is 4GL, and the fifth generation programming, which is visual programming or 5GL. So the first one is first generation or machine language. The machine language is the first generation programming language. It is the only programming language that the computer can understand directly. It is expressed in the form of binary digits, 0 and 1. A program written in a machine language executes very fast because no translation is required. Machine language programs are machine dependent. The program written on a computer may not run on another computer. A machine language is a low-level language. A programmer must have detailed knowledge of the working of a computer. It is tedious, difficult, and time-consuming to develop programs using machine language. So this is the image of machine language or first generation language. Next is second generation language or assembly language. The second generation programming language is the assembly language. In this language, mnemonic codes are used to develop program. Mnemonic codes are short words used for a lengthy set of instructions. Programming in assembly language is simpler and less time consuming than programming in machine language. It is also easier to locate and correct errors in assembly language. Assembly language programs are also machine dependent. The programs written on one computer may not run on another computer. An assembly language is also a low-level language because detailed knowledge of hardware is still required. In order to execute an assembly language program, you need to convert it into an equivalent machine language program using an assembler. What is an assembler? An assembler is a language processor that converts an assembly language program into a machine language program. Each instruction in assembly language is usually converted into one machine instruction. Next is third generation programming language or 3GL. A third generation programming language is also known as high level language. It is a programmer friendly and structured language. Similar to English language, it uses English words and mathematical symbols to develop a program. High level language programs are machine independent. Programs written for one computer can be executed on another computer with minor changes or no changes at all. Some examples of third generation programming languages are C, C++, Python and Java. In order to execute a high-level language program, you need to convert it into a machine language either by using a compiler or an interpreter. Each high-level language requires its own compiler or interpreter. What is a compiler? A compiler is a language processor that converts a high-level language program into a machine language program. In one go, it first scans the entire program and then translates it into the machine language. A compiler also lists all errors in the program along with the line numbers on which errors have occurred. The translated program or object code produced by a compiler is stored in the computer and can be used to execute the program in future. Interpreter. An interpreter is a language processor that converts a high-level language program into a machine language program line by line. It reads a line of source code, converts it into machine code and executes it. If there is an error in the code, the interpreter waits for the error to be corrected before proceeding. The object code produced by an interpreter is not stored in the computer. It is generated each time the program is executed. Fourth generation programming language, which is close to human language. A fourth generation computer language or 4GL is closer to human language than any other high level language. The language is designed to reduce the overall time, effort and cost of software development. It is much easier to use than a third generation language and allows user or non-computer professional to develop software. A fourth generation language is often referred to as object-oriented programming language. It is usually limited to specific applications and may use syntax that is not used in other programming languages. SQL, Ruby, and Nomad are examples of fourth generation programming language. So what is a fifth generation programming language? A fifth generation programming language or 5GL is an advanced high-level programming language. It provides a visual or graphical interface for developing a program. It is normally associated with the field of artificial intelligence. A fifth generation language does not require reserved words, specialized syntax and coding. It allows the programmer to develop a program without having any specialized knowledge of the language. The programmer needs to know the problem to be solved rather than knowing how to solve it. Prolog and Mercury are examples of fifth generation programming languages. Programming languages have been under development for years and will remain so for many years to come. They have become easier to use, more expressive, more structured, and user-friendly than the earlier generations. So let us see what is the first generation language. First generation, directly understood by computers, uses processor instruction, processor independent in binary form. Second generation, processor dependent, uses mnemonics to represent binary, easier to remember and read. Third generation, processor independent, uses variables with sequences, includes branches and loops. Fourth generation, processor independent, uses for form filling, computer aided graphics, screen instruction. Fifth generation, processor dependent, uses AI techniques, computer draws interfaces from code. So this is all about the second chapter, which is programming language. Thank you.